I will be contesting the WA Senate in 2016 with the APP or with another registered political party who's already endorsed me to be the lead candidate in WA, and I'll make my decision after Christmas and I'll disclose which party. It doesn't really matter because my vision for the economy and for education and social justice issues like homelessness still stays the same regardless of which party I'm with. Well, who should vote for me? Well, first of all the white Australians should vote for me because racism against white Australians is definitely on the increase. All the women should vote for me because I will fight for women's rights all over the world till the day I die. All the Christians should vote for me because I will continue to promote the teaching of the New Testament in Australian schools until the day I die. All the gay people should vote for me because even though I don't agree with same-sex marriage, I do support civil unions for gay people. All the workers should vote for me because I will create the most powerful economy Australia has ever experienced and fight for all Australians to have a job. All the teachers should vote for me because I will make teachers the most important professionals in our Australian nation to fix the education system. All the poor people should vote for me because I will fight for your rights to have a job. All the people suffering from homelessness and other issues, the people who don't survive in our world because of the political and economic systems Liberal and Labor have created, should vote for me because I'll continue to fight for social justice for you. All the Aboriginal people should vote for me because I will continue to fight for the rights of Aboriginal people in Australia, as I have always done. And I will fight for the rights of the Aboriginal people as the first Australians, the rights for you to own property, to have jobs and improve your economic situation. Because for the Aboriginal people it's political and economic. Who else? All the patriotic Australians should vote for me because I'm a patriotic Australian and I believe political accountability and decision making is to the citizens of your own nation first. And I would scrap things like 457 visas and continue to fight for economic activity, the development of business and jobs for Australians. All the business people should vote for me because, again, I will create the most powerful economy Australia has ever had for business people to flourish, including reforming the banking sector and empowering small business in Australia, giving small business grants to Australians. The current politicians, Liberal and Labor, and other parties also will continue to give political funding to foreign corporations, tax money to foreign corporations, and that is destroying the small business sector in Australia and the primary and secondary production of other industries, agriculture, manufacturing, retail trade. So just about every political and economic decision that the current politicians make for Australia is wrong, and I will always make decisions that benefit Australian-born people and Australian patriots, as people that have lived in Australia for many years who consider Australia their home. I was born in Australia as well. So the people who love the Aussie way of life and who respect the Aussie way of life. And I will also take action on people who are coming to our nation who are forcing their beliefs and values on us and destroying our Aussie way of life and the Christian heritage in Australia as well. So I'm against that. So pretty much that covers everybody really that should vote for me. I'm an experienced teacher, I've got a Master of Education, Leadership Management, and I've written and published 4 books of non-fiction literature. I've taught and studied economics for 20 years, so I have a great understanding of the economy and how to create a powerful economy for our nation. So yeah, all those people should vote for me. My name will be on the ballot paper for the WA Senate. Also, all voters in Australia for the Senate should vote below the line because the current politicians, before preceding the 2013 election, they doubled the cost of contesting elections to make it hard for other political candidates, and they also made changes to the electoral acts, to the Commonwealth Electoral Act 1918, to make it harder for other political candidates. So the current politicians only care about their own power, corruption and greed, and they don't care about you as a citizen at all. And they have got a lot of blood on their hands, and they need to be removed from our parliament, because nothing in Australia will change unless they are removed and voted out. And they are already talking about how they're going to make it difficult for the 2016 election. Liberal and Labor politicians are going to make it difficult for other political candidates to contest elections by changing the rules for the Senate. So I encourage every Australian voter to vote below the line for the Senate, to number all the boxes. If in Western Australia, if you number me, number 1, and then number the remaining boxes, which would be about 62 to 65 boxes, judging by the last election. I think there were 64 candidates for the WA Senate. To take the time, the half an hour that is required, to diligently number all boxes in the Senate, and not just put number 1 above the line, because the current politicians are going to make it so that you put a number 1 above the line, your vote won't go any further than that number 1 candidate, which means that you have no impact on who gets in the Senate if your candidate doesn't win a seat. So really, it's in the best interest of all Australians to number. They should be numbering. All Australian voters should be numbering your own boxes for the lower house, for the green ballot paper, the House of Representatives, and not follow how to vote cards, because that's manipulation and coercion of the voter and further disempowering you. And once again, you should also number all the boxes in the Senate, number below the line. If there's 64 candidates or 65 candidates, and please take the time to number all the boxes from 1 to 65, if there's 65 candidates, for example, for the Senate, to vote below the line, and then your vote will go exactly where you want it to go. You don't need to be coerced by a party. You don't need to be coerced by a how to vote card. You don't need to be controlled and manipulated by the rules that the current politicians are implementing to destroy democracy. Because at the end of the day, they're not interested in democracy. They're only interested in maintaining their own corrupt power and control over society. And the way for voters to empower themselves is to vote, number all the boxes in the way you want to number them for both the House of Representatives and the Senate, and that way your vote will definitely go where you want it to go. So in the strongest possible terms, I encourage all Australian voters to vote below the line, to number all the boxes in the Senate, to ensure that your vote counts. And that's the best way for your vote to count. There are a lot of Australians who are talking about not voting at all, and they think that that's a positive political pursuit, but it's not, because if you don't vote at all, you are still voting. You are voting for the current politicians. If you choose not to vote, you are voting for the status quo. So you are still voting. You're voting to keep the people who are in our parliaments in there, and they have become so corrupt and greedy and dishonest. They are all globalist politicians. Even Clive Palmer is a globalist politician, and his politicians has got Muslim candidates in his political party, and that is definitely not in the best interests of Australia, because Australia has a Christian heritage, and the values of freedom and democracy are based on those values, whereas Islam, for example, which is increasing its control, increasing its voice, trying to increase its political voice in Australia, is a political ideology, a very dangerous political ideology that is based on violence. And the violence against women and children throughout the world is also increasing. So that's another strong reason to vote for me, because I'll fight for women's rights, and also all parents should vote for me. Responsible parents should vote for me, because I'll continue to fight for a world-class education system, and not just that, I will continue to fight for very strong prison sentences for pedophiles and rapists. So all quality parents should vote for me, because I'll do everything I can to protect your children from evil, and even to the point of promoting capital punishment for rapers, capital punishment for murderers, rapists and pedophiles throughout the world. The Western world should have capital punishment for murderers, rapists and pedophiles, because that definitely is on the increase over the past decade, and the current politicians, male-dominated parliaments and judiciaries around the world will not stop it. They won't stop it. So I encourage women to contest political elections and vote for women candidates to do something about stopping it. They have proven Jesus Christ was a great liberator of women, yet for 2,000 years men have oppressed women all over the world, and the consequences of that is murder, rape and pedophilia, and we have to put a stop to it. So all quality parents should vote for me as well, because I will do everything I can to protect your children from evil, and young people from evil, and vulnerable people from evil. So pretty much it's in the best interests of our nation to vote for me, number one, in the WA Senate in 2016. Thank you very much.